Today we're taking a look at these MLB matches, which are happening on Thursday, July 20th, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and to push the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also check out our Patreon if you want access to our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link to our Patreon in the description and comments section below. San Diego Padres vs Toronto Blue Jays. Blake Snell will get the starting nod in the final game of this series with Toronto. He did not factor into the decision in a 6-4 loss to the Phillies during the first game of last Saturday's doubleheader, allowing 3 hits and 3 walks over 5 scoreless innings. He struck out 7 in another excellent effort. Snell extended his scoreless streak to 21 innings with another stellar performance and left the game with the Padres ahead 3-0, but the bullpen quickly gave up the lead. Snell has not been scored upon since the first inning of the June 28 game against the Pirates and hasn't given up more than 2 runs in a start since May 25, posting an otherworldly 0.62 ERA, 0.97 WHIP, and 91.25 KBB in 58 innings over that latter stretch while going 5-1. After lofty preseason expectations were placed on them, San Diego failed to put together a good stretch this season, and they have been hovering 5 to 7 games below the 500 mark for the last month and a half. They are in 4th place in the competitive National League West, trailing the 3rd-place Arizona Diamondbacks by 7+ games. The Blue Jays will turn to Chris Bassitt in the finale of this interleague series. He notched another win last week, allowing 2 runs on 7 hits over 6 innings against the Diamondbacks. Bassitt was able to pitch his way out of jams for most of the afternoon, while filling in for Kevin Gausman, left side discomfort, on short notice, except for the 4th inning, when he allowed 4 straight hits with 2 outs, which led to 2 runs coming across for Arizona. Those would be the only 2 runs he would allow in the game, as the right-hander went on to secure his 9th win of the year. The 6'5" veteran has won his last 2 decisions over 4 starts, despite allowing at least 6 hits in each of his last 3 starts, and currently holds a 14.1 KBB in July. Bassitt has also gone at least 6 innings in 3 of his last 4 outings. The Padres have been underperforming this season, but Blake Snell has been one of their bright spots. He has not been scored upon since June 28 and has not given up more than 2 runs in a start since May 25. However, I believe his dominant stretch will end in this game against the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have a strong lineup and Vladimir Guerrero is due for a breakout. I expect them to tag Snell with some runs, while Bassitt will be able to coast against the Padres' 24th ranked batting average. I would recommend taking the Blue Jays money line. The Blue Jays will go with Chris Bassitt in the finale of this interleague series. He got another win last week, allowing 2 runs on 7 hits over 6 innings against the Diamondbacks. The 6'5" veteran has won his last 2 decisions over 4 starts, despite allowing at least 6 hits in each of his last 3 starts. Bassitt has also gone at least 6 innings in 3 of his last 4 outings. Entering play Wednesday, the Blue Jays trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 5.5 games in the American League East. I expect them to generate some runs on the seemingly unhittable Blake Snell, and Chris Bassitt will give up his typical 3 to 4 runs. The total number has gone over in 8 of San Diego's last 9 road games. Take the over. Chicago White Sox vs New York Mets. The Chicago White Sox are looking at a potential full rebuild as it becomes more and more apparent that they will not be in the hunt for a division title this season. Following Tuesday night's loss to the Mets, the White Sox fell 16 games under .500 on the season and just 3-7 in their last 10 games. The White Sox will likely be sellers at the trade deadline with several veterans up for grabs. On Monday night, the White Sox lost a shootout with the Mets, 11-10. Starter Lucas Giolito, a potential trade candidate, struggled while allowing 8 runs on 6 hits in just 3.2 innings pitched. On Wednesday night, the White Sox fell again as their lineup was held in check by the Mets pitching. All-star Luis Robert provided the only spark for the White Sox with a solo home run. It is truly now or never for the New York Mets as far as the 2023 MLB playoffs are concerned. With their win on Monday night, the Mets are now 6 games under .500, but still remain a talented roster that is capable of going on a long winning streak. Owner Stephen Cohen has suggested that it is up to the players to make something happen and has put the pressure squarely on their shoulders after his massive spending spree this offseason. On Tuesday night, the Mets hung on for an 11-10 win over the White Sox, thanks to catcher Francisco Alvarez's 2 home runs and 4 RBI on the night. On Wednesday night, Mets starter Justin Verlander threw 8 innings of 3-hit ball, allowing just a solo home run as the only blemish in his outing. With the return of Quintana, the Mets will now finally sport their projected starting 5 rotation that was laid out in spring training. Quintana will provide the Mets with quality starts, control, and the ability to keep the ball in the yard. While he will likely be limited to 5 innings at most in his debut, Quintana should be able to contain a White Sox lineup that is hitting just .234 away from home. Additionally, the White Sox thrive on the long ball, but Quintana has traditionally done a great job of keeping the ball in the yard, giving up just 8 home runs last year between Pittsburgh and St. Louis. White Sox starter Kopech has fallen off the rails as of late, while losing each of his last 3 starts. Kopech has lost his command, walking 14 batters and striking out just 8, and going only 8.2 innings combined in the 3 starts. Look for the Mets to work the count with Kopech, get his pitch count up, and force the White Sox to once again utilize their banged-up bullpen. Take the Mets with the money line. Our total pick is over. Detroit Tigers vs Kansas City Royals. Detroit enters this game ranked 3rd in the AL Central and having won 2 of their first 3 games against the Royals. In their most recent 3-2 win, Eduardo Rodriguez got the start and the win for the Tigers, throwing 7 innings, allowing 4 hits that resulted in 2 runs, while striking out 7. Jason Foley relieved him and recorded a hold in the 8th, leaving Alex Lang to pick up his 16th save of the season in the 9th. On the offensive end, the Tigers totaled 8 hits and 3 runs in the game. Riley Green had the only multi-hit game, going 3-4 with a run scored, while Javier Baez had the team's only home run in the 2nd inning. Overall, it was a good win on the road for the Tigers in almost a must-win series against one of the league's worst teams. The Tigers give right-hander Michael Lorenzen the start for Game 4 in hopes of securing a series win and back-to-back wins for the squad. Lorenzen has had a solid first half of the season, posting a 4-6 record, along with a 3.75 ERA and a 1.13 WHIP in those outings. His most recent start came against the Mariners, in which he threw 6.2 shutout innings and allowed only 2 hits while striking out 7 and walking 5. I would expect another good showing from Lorenzen in his upcoming start, as long as he can limit the walks and not help out the struggling Royals offense. The Royals enter this game ranked last in the AL Central and having lost 2 of their first 3 games at home against the Tigers. In their most recent 3-2 loss, Ryan Yarbrough got the start in the loss for the Royals, throwing 5.2 innings and allowing 6 hits that resulted in 3 runs. Carlos Hernandez came in and finished the 6th, leaving Max Castillo to throw the remainder of the game. On the offensive end, the Royals totaled 5 hits and 2 runs in the game. Drew Waters had the only multi-hit game, going 2-4, while Kyle Isbell and Michael Massey had the team's only extra base hits. Overall, it was a tough loss for the Royals, as neither the offense or the defense could perform at the level it took to win this game. The Detroit Tigers are the better team in this matchup. They won the previous game and have a significant pitching advantage. Lorenzen has a 3.75 ERA and a 1.13 WHIP this season, while Greinke has a 5.44 ERA and a 1.29 WHIP. Greinke is also 1-9 on the season and is making his first start back from the Illinois, which are both factors working against him. The Tigers' hitters are also capable of putting up runs. They have been scoring at a good pace lately, and I believe they will be able to get to Greinke and the Royals' bullpen. The Royals are 3-7 in their last 10 games overall and 15-35 at home, which makes me even more confident in taking the Tigers to win this game. I would recommend taking the Tigers' money line. Taking the over in this game for a couple of reasons. We see a pretty average pitching matchup in Game 2 with Lorenzen facing off against Greinke. With Greinke having a 5.44 ERA and Lorenzen having a 3.75 ERA, there should be plenty of runs scored early on in the game. Both teams have also made good use of their bullpen this series and should be running low on arms. These teams totaled 21 runs in the second game of the series under similar circumstances, so there is a very good chance we see a similar story in Game 4. For these reasons, I am confident in taking the over for this game. Take the over.